What's going on Inside Out? How are you guys doing this evening? Come on, I'm gonna need a little more cheer than that. Come on. How are you guys doing this evening? Much better. Well, my name is Olivia, and whether it's your first time here or you've been with us before, I am so excited that you guys have decided to join us here this evening. We have a lot of super cool things planned for you guys. First, in honor of the Halloween season, because what is tomorrow again? Halloween, I think I heard it. So in honor of our Halloween season, we're playing a little bit of a spooky game. Then we have two really important announcements for you guys. And lastly, our very own Jen Mazzola will be up here to start off our new series, Simplify. So before we get started with all that, I'm seeing a lot of costumes in the room this morning. So on the count of three, I want you guys to shout out what your costume is, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. I heard a lot of different costumes. I love them all, though. Maybe you'll win the costume contest that we'll talk about later. Who knows? But like I said, in honor of our Halloween season, we're playing a little bit of a scary game. So I'm gonna need a guy and a girl from each grade. So freshmen, starting off with our freshmen, can I get a freshman girl? And then can I get a freshman guy? And then for sophomores, can I get a sophomore girl? And then a sophomore guy? Sophomore guy? And then can I get a junior girl? Junior girl. And then can I get a junior guy? Junior guy. Junior guy. Junior guy. Do we have Carter Wilson? Awesome, our birthday boy. And then I need a senior girl. Senior girl. Senior girls. Ava Norris. Come play our game. Come on, senior girl. Senior guy. Senior guy. Do I see any Colin? Carson? Okay, let's have Carson play our game. Awesome. Everybody come lined up. Lined up, lined up. Awesome. Hey, come on, stop stalling. Get up here. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna go around real quick just so that we can introduce ourselves. We're gonna say our names and what small group we're from.
Carter and junior guys.
Now, it's also Mr. Carter Wilson's birthday, so can we all say a happy birthday on 3? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday. Let's hope you win this one. Okay, what is your name? What small group are you from?
Carson, senior guys.
Great cheers. Okay.
Nathan, sophomore guys.
More energy.
Cody, freshman guys.
That was better.
Avery, sophomore girls.
Hey, it keeps getting better.
Ashlyn, freshman girls.
Savannah, junior girls. Ava, senior girls.
Yay! Our seniors were not very willing to volunteer for this game, but that's okay. Our game that we're going to be playing today is called What's in the Box. So judging by the name and our lovely box up here, you guys are going to have 15 seconds and you're going to stick your hand in the box and feel what item is inside the box. And then after the 15 seconds are up, you're going to take your hand out of the box and tell me what your best guess is. And it can be a ballpark answer. I'll have our audience help us out just to see what your answer, if your answer is remotely correct. But you guys will also have blindfolds on. So just so that we can ensure that you guys do not know what is inside the box. But if you guess it remotely correct, then you can come over to this lovely table to my left and you will get to pick a prize. Now this prize can either be a trick or a treat. So you have to choose wisely. But if you get the guess incorrect, then you're gonna have to go ahead and take a seat. So do we have any lucky, brave first contestants up? Carter Wilson? Oh wait, I'm gonna hand each of you a blindfold though, real quick. It's no competition. Awesome. Carter, go ahead and put your blindfold on for me. I know you kind of already have one around your neck there, but that's okay. Awesome. Yeah, you're going to have to. There you go. Nope. Where are you putting over the box? Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Everybody get your blindfolds ready. You're going to be blindfolded, so you have to put it around. Just so that we can ensure that you guys do not... He's full coverage. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Fits the costume, Carter. Yeah, can you tie it on for Carter? That would be so nice. Hey, Ray, give a round of applause for Carson Leedy for helping out. Awesome. Do you see anything? What number am I holding up? Nope, that's good. Okay, so stand right in front. I'll guide you over. Stand right in front of the box. Okay, there's nothing in the box yet, so hold on. You can go ahead and come on out, Madison. Everybody give a round of applause for Madison. Don't move the box. Okay, now you have 15 seconds. There's little holes on the side of the box, okay? You feel okay? You have 15 seconds. Go ahead and stick your hands in the holes of the box. You have 15 seconds. Ready? 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, go ahead and put the item down. Now, what do you think your guess is?
Do I have a microphone? Oh, I do.
Sorry, I forgot to tell you that part.
It was spiky and it like juicy.
So what do you think it is, though?
Pineapple. Well, like you know, like when they're like a plant and it's like, but it. Oh, I can't.
Hey, no. So go ahead and take your blindfold off and look to the side screens, and you can see where you guess. Can you? No. Hey, there you go. Go ahead and take your blindfold off. It was an orange with toothpicks in it. Audience, what do you think? Do you think he got it right? Hey, give a shout if you think he got it. Give a shout if you don't think he got it.
There is not a lot of those.
Okay, because it was your birthday, I'll go ahead and give you it. So go ahead and choose a box. Just beware. Some of them might be tricks. Okay, so pick whichever one. There's some on the bottom too. No. What would be the fun of that? Yes, and once you touch it, it's yours. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. 5, 4. Hey, what does the audience think? 4? Okay.
Wait, there's numbers. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's okay. They said 4 though. That's 4. So go ahead and open it. See us. What did you get? What is it, Mr. Carter Wilson? Is it a trick or a treat?
Oh, I got a pickle.
Hey!
I got a pickle.
Awesome! Well, everybody give a big round of applause for Mr. Carter Wilson up here. You can go ahead and take a seat. Thanks so much for playing, Carter. Okay, do we have a lucky, brave next contestant up? You ready? Okay, you'll be after this, Carson. Let me go ahead and take the last item out of the way. Go ahead and put your blindfold on. Do you feel nervous or excited?
I'm nervous.
Nervous. What do you think it might be?
I don't know.
She doesn't know. Okay. Not yet, not yet, not yet. Okay, the item is in the box, so I'll guide you. Go ahead. Okay. What is it? Okay, you have 15 seconds once you get in. So start touching, and then I'll give you 15 seconds. You have 15, 14, 13, feel around, 11, 10, I don't know, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and put it down. Go ahead and take your arms out.
It's pumpkin.
It's pumpkin. Well, go ahead and take your blindfold off and see if you got it right. It was pumpkin guts. So you can go ahead and choose a box to our left over here. You can choose any number you'd like, any number you'd like. We got a top and a bottom section. Pick wisely. Is it gonna be a trick or a treat? We'll find out. What number did you pick? 6. Go ahead and open it and tell us what you got. Who thinks it's a trick? Who thinks it's a trick? Carson thinks it's a trick. Who thinks it's a treat? Love the audience interaction. Awesome. She's opening it up. What is it?
It's a trick.
What does it say?
Oh, it says cupcakes for your small group.
Cupcakes for your small group. That is not a trick. That would be very much a treat. So if you're in a small group, go ahead and give a big shout out. And you can take it. You can keep. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. So Carson, do you want to come up and show us what you got inside the box of mystery? Okay, so come on up. Put your blindfold on. And keep an open mind. Nothing's in it yet. Okay. We have Carson up here. Madison is putting them in the box. Putting it in the box. Okay. So you you can take a well, this would do you want it to be your final guess? Let's think. What do you think it might be, Carson?
I don't know. Mouse.
He thinks it's a mouse. Okay, now put your hands in, and you get 15 seconds once you start touching. Okay, you have 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. You have a guess? Would you like to eat it and find out?
No. Gummy worm. No. Just regular worms. You made me think eat. It's worms.
Just worms. Go ahead and take off your blindfold and tell me what you think about this answer. It is worms. Great job. Wow, our contestants are doing pretty good if you ask me. So now come over to our trick or treat boxes. And which number would you like? I don't know which one's good, and I wouldn't tell you if I did know, so. Nathan is gonna pick it for Carson. You have 5 seconds left. What does the audience think? What should he pick? He picked 7, so I'm so sorry. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Tell us, Carson, is it a trick or a treat?
A water bottle.
A water bottle. Hey, I'd say that's a pretty good treat. Madison's gonna give you your water bottle. And it has a lovely InsideOut sticker that you can purchase. Yay, awesome. Go ahead and take a seat. Yeah, great job, great job. You're a real trooper. Okay, you wanna go next? Awesome, awesome. Go ahead and put that blindfold on. I don't even wanna touch this plate. This is really disgusting. Now, are you feeling nervous or excited?
No comment.
Okay. Understandable. Okay. Now, our item is currently in the box. So, once you stick your hand in, you have 15 seconds left, okay? You have 15, 14, 13, 12. You already know what it is? Okay, go ahead and tell me. You want...
It's shrimp.
It's shrimp. Go ahead and take your blindfold off and tell me, what is it? It's shrimp. So you can go ahead into our box of trick or treats and tell me what number you want, but pick wisely. Oh, she already knew it. Okay, let's figure it out. Is it a trick or a treat? Audience, what do you think it is? You got toilet paper? It is unfortunately a trick, unless you have to go to the bathroom. Then that could be a really good treat. So go ahead and give a round of applause for our contestant up here. Now, who would like to go next? You want to go next, Cody? Okay, awesome. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling right now?
Awesome.
That's not a number. Scale 1 to 10.
10.
10. He can't count that high, he said. Okay. So, the item is currently in the box. So, once you stick your hands in, you can go ahead and get started. Okay. You have 15, 14, 13. What is it?
Popsicles.
Take off your blindfold and tell me. Is it popsicles? It is popsicles. You can go ahead and go over to our boxes over here of trick or treats. Did you pick number 2? Yes, he did. Now, do you think this could be a trick or a treat? He's going to town. Oh, he got a Starbucks gift card. That's a pretty good treat. Go out, buy yourself something nice. That's good. You want to go, Savannah? Our cheerleader over here is going to go. Now, are you feeling nervous or excited?
Very nervous.
Very nervous? What do you think it might be?
Something alive.
Something alive, she said. Oh, gosh. I'm not allowed to tell you, but it'll be a good one, that's for sure. Now, Our blindfold is getting tied. Awesome. We have, thank you. We have, we have our next item in there. So once you want to stick your hands in, you have 15 seconds, okay? Try to touch all of the plate, okay? Okay, you have 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. You think you know? Okay, don't touch the microphone, please.
Is it like pudding?
Is it pudding? Go ahead and take your blindfold off. We have a napkin. Now, audience, do you think she got that? Now, they seem to think you got that. And I honestly, because you have chocolate all over your hands, I'll take it. So you can go ahead and grab a napkin, and then you can go ahead and grab a box of trick or treats. Pretty messy, Keep it away from the uniform, Kate Klauk said. Awesome. We're going to go ahead and go over to our boxes of trick or treats, and you can tell me what number you would like. That one. Of course, it's really heavy. I'll mention that. Number 5. Okay. What do we think it is, audience? It's really heavy. A pumpkin. Rocks. It looks like soda. You got a whole box of soda with Sprite and Coke. That's great. So, sorry about the mess. It looks great. It looks great. We have 2 contestants left. Now, who would like to go? You don't want to go last? Well, then now's as good a time as any. Awesome. We got a lot of fans cheering for you. Go ahead and do... Yeah, hey, Nate, you want to put the blindfold on for her? Thank you so much. Ava, what do you think it might be?
I'm not really too sure.
She's not too sure. Scared? She thinks it's going to be nasty. Oh. Audience interaction is not looking very good. So the item is currently in the box. So you have 15 seconds once you stick your hand inside the box. That wasn't very nice, Nate. You got this. Okay. Stick your hand inside the box, and then you have 15 seconds. Okay, you have 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. What did you say, Ava?
This raw meat?
Go ahead and take your blindfold off and look at the answer. And it is ground beef. So we'll go ahead and count that because I think that was a pretty solid answer. It looks disgusting inside here, so I'm really glad that you didn't have to look at that while you had to touch it. But you can come over here for your boxes of trick or treats and tell me, what box would you like? There's 2 boxes left. 8. We heard 8. 8's right there. You were feeling 8 too? Go ahead and pick it up. Tell me what you think. You can go ahead and open it right in front of us. See if it's a trick or a treat. What might it be? Oh, it is a box of mayonnaise. Hey, if you're a mayonnaise lover, that's really good for you. Hey, you can go ahead and keep that all you want, all of it. Share with your small group if you'd like. Go ahead and take a seat, though. And we have our last contestant up here, Mr. Nate Norcross. Now, come on up here. You already have your blindfold on. You're good to go. How's it feel being the last contestant?
Scary.
Scary. Now, do you think you'll get a box like everybody else, or will you be one of the only losers?
I'll be the only loser.
You'll be the only loser. That's not a lot of confidence. Now, our item is currently in the box, and let me just tell you, it looks yummy. So, once you stick your hands inside the box, your timer will be started. Don't flick it off. Okay. You have 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What do you think it is, Nate Norcross?
Is it Jell-O and almonds?
Jell-O and almonds. Go ahead and take off your blindfold and tell me What is the answer? Now, it's raw eggs with almonds. Now, who thinks that I should give it to him? Now, who thinks I shouldn't give it to him? Wow. So, I mean, I guess you can go get a box. Everybody's saying you should go get one. Okay, well, there's only one box left, so go ahead. Well, not that one. Okay, go ahead and open it up. Now, it could be a trick. It could be all for nothing. His hands are pretty slick. If you want a paper towel, we have one over there. Okay. Okay. Well, now, Nate, go ahead and tell the audience, what is your gift? Ravioli. Now, I mean, that could be pretty good. If you have a can opener somewhere, then go to town during small group. But, of course. Now, that was a pretty great game. All those look really disgusting. I personally would not eat any of those. But I'm glad that you guys had a great time. Now, like I said before, we have two super important announcements, so everybody please listen up. So our first announcement is that next week we will have part 2 of our series, Simplify, with our very own Jeremy Edelin up here. And next week is also National Nacho Day. So if you like nachos, we will be serving a nacho bar next week. So you are definitely not going to want to miss Inside Out. We will also be announcing our costume contest winner, which, leading into my second announcement, we are currently holding a costume contest. How you enter is going to be plain and simple. You're going to be taking a picture here at Inside Out. You can have it with your friends or without your friends. Then you're going to post it to your Instagram story and tag us at InsideOut_NP for your chance to win. We will be giving away UT basketball tickets next week. So you're definitely going to want to be at Inside Out. You're not going to want to miss it. There's Jeremy Edelin, there's nachos, there's UT basketball game tickets. So you're definitely going to want to be there. But that is all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. And now Jen Mazzola will be up here for part 1 of our series, Simplify.
I'm just going to let you guys know, I actually pay Matt Keeney to let me share just so you guys will cheer for me and I get all my insecurities, get healed from that moment. Thank you so much. All right, if I haven't had a chance to meet you yet, my name is Jennifer Mazzola. I'm an Inside Out small group leader. I'm a volunteer here at North Point, and I am so excited to be with you. When the intro was running and you saw those rules and those laws and all those things, I don't know if anybody got confused, but there's a lot to keep up with when you start talking about faith. But I actually think there's a lot to keep up with when you start talking about how you guys communicate in general. So now Matt and I tease each other a lot because I'm just a little older than he is, also a little taller. But, that wasn't that bad. That was funny. That was in love. So thank you. So, one of the things that happens in my world is I was in high school and there was not texting. What we did is we had the first minute of your cell phone call for free. So you would call a friend, you would wait till it got to 58 seconds, and then you would hang up, and then you would call them back. So it didn't cost you to actually speak with them, but texting wasn't like it is now. So I've had to kind of adapt to texting language, and I just want to ask you some questions. I'm going to show you the same response via a text, and I want you to let me know if it's a positive response with a thumbs up, right? A negative response with a thumbs down, and just like this, if it's kind of like a meh or mid response, right? If the response is mid, do this. If it's good, do this. And if it's negative, do that. Okay, you ready? So let's start. You ask someone a question. Oh, wow, this is interesting. There's more of a variety. Why? Okay. So I thought this was kind of like maybe on the higher, the thumbs up side of mid. Depends. Okay, go to the next one. Right, that's like cute, right? Okay. Like if someone texts you this, you can hear it in your head. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. All right. Right. You're so angry. What? Imagine if you spoke with a period. Like most of my sentences probably do end with, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. All right, let's try another one. Okay. Okay, so some people receive this as excited, like, okay. And then some people are like, it's screaming, you're yelling. Okay. All right, I think we got one more. What I love is how that confused you. Like, so now we're confused. So the period a minute ago meant like the world is over and you're angry. Now it's like, it could still be like, well, maybe you're just really excited and that's the end of it, right? Okay, so I just need you to know there are times, and I'm a parent, I have 2 kids that have, one that's currently in InsideOut and one that graduated last year, but like, there's a reality that sometimes I think we forget sometimes as parents is it really is different. The way you guys communicate is genuinely different than we experienced when we were teenagers. This is complicated. Like, when I was talking, like, as a teenager, if I said okay, it just meant okay. And even though we wrote notes, that's what we did to each other, you'd like trade them between classes, we still didn't overanalyze it to this extent. Right? So things are different for you guys, and things can be more complicated for you guys. So let me ask this. How many of you went to House of Torment last week? Me? Me? Oh, there's consequence back there. There's what? Yeah, okay. How many went through all 3 houses? Okay. I went to House of Torment with you guys last week. I was only able to survive, whereas Ness, she went to the bathroom anyway, because Ness, one of the girls in my small group, let me like hold tight to her for the first 2 houses, and then yes, Juice Box back there allowed me to hold her hand during the 3rd house. But I'm going to tell you honestly, selfishly, the reason I was so excited about House of Torment is because it was going to be the first time my 2 sons ever went through a haunted house. And I wanted to see every moment of their reaction. I wanted to experience that with them. They kind of ran off with their friends and stuff, but like, so I didn't get to see that. That was really cool. But that's a sad parenting moment, guys. This is where you go, aww. That's fine. It's fine. I will take them again one day. But I was kind of excited because that was going to be a first. And when Matt asked me to share, he said, Jen, like, we're just going to do this series called Simplify. And I just want you to talk to the students about how would you simplify your faith? Which got me thinking about like several moments in my faith when I didn't simplify. So one example would be my 2 boys before they were born. I wanted signs made for them for their room. And I was pregnant with Kyle, and I had this sign made. And then when I was pregnant with Parker, I had the exact same sign made. This is actually in Parker's bathroom. And Kyle has his in his closet. But, it's a really special sign to them. But, so for me, here was the deal. When I was pregnant with them, I had this theory that I could single-handedly, through my parenting, bring back the word honor. I really thought it was a great word, especially for guys. I had this thing where I was like, I think the idea of men being honorable men is a big concept, and I really wanted my sons to grow up seeing that, reading it, and thinking about it. But I had a problem. See these 3 words underneath, God, yourself, and others? It took me months to find out which order I wanted those words to be in. So I played with a bunch of different variations. So at first, I put God, others, yourself. That made sense. I'd heard sermons about that. I thought, well, you love God first, and then because that, you love others, and then you put yourself last because you're supposed to be a servant and all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, yeah, but the reality is, like, is that really the order it goes in? So I rewrote it again, had the sign redone, and I put others, yourself, and God, because I thought, well, God's in and through it all, but really we got to put others first because Jesus was about others first. And then I was like, well, no, that doesn't feel right either. So I put it as others, God, yourself, and I went through every variation I could possibly think of for those words until my husband said, you're overcomplicating this. Like, they're not even born, and you want this sign to be perfect. But I kind of had this thing in my head that was like, well, we got to do this right. We got to get the order of everything in our worlds the right way, or somehow God's going to kind of miss us, or we're going to miss him. And it took me a while to figure out that's not exactly how it goes at all. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what it looks like to simplify our faith, because like the intro had a bunch of rules and laws, that's kind of what we reduce our faith to. And I want to kind of stop all that for just a second. If faith and religion and tradition and church and the Bible all seem very complicated to you, whether because you've been reading it a ton or you've read it your whole life or you've never read it again or never read it at all, just stop for just a second, and we're going to simplify. Because the reason I had a hard time with the order of those words is because of this passage. Let's look at Matthew. One of them, an expert in the law, so this is someone approaching Jesus in a conversation, says, "Teacher," speaking to Jesus, "which is the greatest commandment in the law?" Don't go, wait, don't go, oh, well, that's fine. Okay, so Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." All the law, all the stuff, and all the words of the prophets, everything everybody's telling you, hang on these two simple commandments. And the irony in this whole scene is that this guy knows, right? He knows the simple truth. He studied it. He's an expert in it. And he's trying to get Jesus to overcomplicate it, overthink it. And Jesus just gives him the idea of faith simply. He just says, here it is. It is simply loving God and loving others. But we struggle, just like the expert in the law did, and we complicate things. Anybody in here like an overthinker? Like you reading that, before you even send a text, you read it 16 times. I'm not going to look in certain directions because my small group's in here. But, so if you're someone who kind of complicates things, think about this. We complicate friendships. We complicate relationships. We complicate projects. We complicate schedules. We complicate our calendar. Look at this list. All these things get crazy and messy. And really, some of these things should be the most simple, right? Being a good friend should be fairly simple, right? Completing a task is often more simple than we make it. Your relationships, if they're healthy, should be fairly simple. Schedules, we overcomplicate them or we overload them, and we do the exact same thing with our faith. We look at this and we're like, wait a minute, what does this mean? How is this supposed to be? That, or we actually don't even regard it at all. It's like a side thing in our life. Right? So what we're going to look at is, what does it look like to simplify our faith? And when Matt asked me, he said, "Jen, I just want you to tell the students what you think faith looks like simply." And here's mine. 2 lines. God loves you, and you're to love others. That's the simplest version of faith I can give. Now, so those of you that have been in InsideOut for a while, maybe you've been walking this out, you consider yourself a Christian, and you've been doing this whole thing for a long time. I want to just point out that knowing something like this simple truth, because you're probably like, I've heard this message a million times. Yeah. God loves me, and I got to love others. God loves me. There's a big difference in knowing something and actually walking it out in your life and allowing it to impact you. Right? So I want you to sit with that as we're talking tonight. I just want you to think, okay, I may know this stuff. And if you're someone who's like, I don't believe in any of this, you're visiting maybe, or this is not a thing that you're into at all, which is totally cool. We're still super glad that you're here. I just want you to pretend for a minute that what I might be saying is real. Just let yourself live for just a second that the things I'm going to push you guys with tonight could actually be real. So the verse that we get that from, that I said God loves us and we are to love others, is 1 John 4:19. We love because he first loved us. Now, I want to look at these 2 simple truths in this one simple statement. I'm going to kind of look at them backwards. And here's what I'm going to challenge you to think about. Is the reality is the fact that to act like we are loved and to love others well is not always easy. But it is actually absolutely always possible. And we're going to talk about how we can do that. And honestly, if I'm being totally honest with you, I think it's actually what changes the world. Simple things about loving others well. I mean, we can do a lot of great things. And I love when we get together, like when we do Camp 75 stuff. But if we can't walk this out day to day at school, at home, with our siblings, with our parents, with our small groups, with our friends, I think we're missing out on what could actually change, because we're going to love because he first loved us. Okay, so let's keep going. Next slide. Oh, okay. So when Matt asked me to talk about this, I had to think about what it was like in my world when I was your age, right? So I'm going to show you a picture of me. This is my freshman year. Whoa, okay. Pause reactions, pause. Freshman year. It's a lot of makeup, I know. But listen, this was my prom date. His name, and actually, yeah, we were discussing this. What do you think his name would be just looking at him? Okay, sorry, that didn't go like I thought. His name was Jason. Did anybody guess Jason? Okay, so it is Jason. It's not was. It still is Jason. Jason was my freshman and sophomore year boyfriend. And we start talking, we're going to start with we love because God loved us. So we're starting with this idea that God loves us. But I have to be honest with you, when I was dating Jason, I did not live like God loved me. Because I thought I needed him to love me, which sounds so silly, but we kind of do this, right? Because he was into NASCAR, so all of a sudden I was into NASCAR, and he was into country music, so all of a sudden I was into country music. Even his family ate their spaghetti a certain way, and all of a sudden I was complaining to my mom that we don't eat our spaghetti the right way. He tried to break up with me. I wouldn't let him. It was this weird thing that happened for a couple of years. Because what I did was not date someone as if I was already someone that was loved and valued and worthy. I dated someone because I thought that's the stuff that they could give me. And it didn't work. I repeated the process a few more times in my life, and it still didn't work. But maybe it wasn't just relationships that I had to struggle with that. I'm going to show you another picture from me in high school. This is from me my junior year. All right. So, remember a few weeks ago, I don't know how to judge all the reactions, so just don't give them to me. So anyway, so this girl right here, her name is Shannon McVeigh. See, you hear it, don't you? Doesn't that name just do it? It's like I have ick already. So Shannon McVeigh was really beautiful, and all the guys really liked her, and she was a really great singer. And sometimes she would get a part singing that I didn't get, and sometimes the guy that I kind of had a crush on liked her. So those are just realities, right? And instead of recognizing that those things aren't Shannon McVeigh's fault, I wasn't acting like I was someone who was grounded and rooted and established and already loved and worthy. So instead, I just took all that out on Shannon by talking about her and calling her certain phrases that would not paint the prettiest of reputations for her, and excluding her when all of our friends would go out, because somehow that would do this weird punishment things that sometimes we do to each other. Yeah, I share both those things because the reality is if I could have actually stopped at your age or at any age and recognized how loved I already was, all of my reactions to Jason or to Shannon or to anybody else that followed or came before would have been radically different. I want you to do something for me. Just put your stuff out of your hand for just a second. I'm going to let you pick it all back up. Maybe close your eyes if it helps you to not be distracted. And I want you to just sit with something for a second, because I'm telling you, this is so simple, but it's literally transformative if you let it. If you truly, truly accepted and thought and believed that you are insanely loved, what would look different about your life? If you really bought into it. If it wasn't just words you said, or that message that someone gives at the church that you go to, but you really for a second just stood in that. And you thought, I don't have to worry about all that stuff because I'm loved. And if it's true that you're worth the value someone's willing to pay for it, someone's already paid for you with their life. And that you are so valuable and so loved. And I'm saying it kind of this dramatically because if I'm being honest, guys, I struggle to remember this. And when I get stressed, it looks different because I'm not acting from a place of being loved. And when I react to my children, I'm forgetting that I'm already loved and solid and worthy and valuable. But I want you to sit for just a second. Think about that thing that's hurting you right now or stressing you out, or you're worried, is this going to work or is this not going to work? And would it be different? Would your reaction, your responses, your words look any different if you actually genuinely believed that you are insanely loved, like you really believed it? For just a moment. Because here's my theory. I think if we can walk out life truly believing that we're loved, I think stress feels different. I think gossip doesn't sting quite as much. I think we're a little less desperate. We don't make desperate choices. I think we don't compromise. I think we don't need to manipulate. Keep going. We don't need to show off. We don't need to prove ourselves because we've already been proven. We don't need to be the smartest, the best looking, the most popular because we already know our worth and value. It is literally that simple. You are loved. Now, can you walk that out? Think about maybe a reaction you had this weekend. Because when we're not loved, this is the stuff we do. We lie, we cheat, we insult, we ignore, we backstab, we brush people off, we overreact, and we can keep going and going and going. And we do those things because we're freaking out that we might not be loved. And if it is true, and again, if you're not quite there yet, just think maybe it could be. And if you are there, ask yourself if you're actually walking out life this way. Because if it is true that you are loved, it can change everything. Every response, every reaction. Let's go back to our verse again. 1 John 4:19. We love because he first loved us. So if we've got this whole, because he first loved us moment down, what does it look like then to say, we're going to love others, right? If the two simple truths of our faith, at least in my interpretation, is that we are loved and we're supposed to love others, what does it look like? This part is actually, I don't know, they're equally hard for me. But, I had this friend. Anybody have a friend that you feel like you give and you give and you give and you do and you do and you do and they just never show up for you? Don't raise your hand because that could be, no, but, don't do this. She could be right there. Anyway, I'm just saying, you have that person that you show up for them every time. You're the one that's there. You answer the text. You respond to the call. You're there when they're crying. And when you need them in your moment, they're not there. Or maybe they're not even really there for anybody. I had a friend, and I was with her for years and years and years, and I felt like everything I did, she had drama after drama, crisis after crisis, and I was there. I would show up. She'd be sitting, locking herself in a bathroom, crying. I'd sit outside the door and wait. I did things over and over and over. It was her birthday. I would try and throw something together. And at one point, I'd had enough. I'd thrown her a party, and she was so insanely rude. I was livid. I was so angry. And this is like grown-up me. This is not when I was younger. I was in my 30s, and I can remember sitting in my driveway in my car, and I am mad. And sorry, Matt. I'm frustrated because I feel like here I am. I'm loving you and loving you and loving you and loving you. I'm doing this right and well, and you are being so rude. And so I just kind of cried out to God. And I said, God, but this is why we love people, so that they will be appreciative and say thank you. And God's like, no, that's not the sentence. So God, but sometimes we love people so that at least maybe later at some point they'll do something kind for someone else. They'll pay it forward in some way, right? Like I do all this stuff so that maybe they will do something later for someone. And God's like, no, also not the sentence. What's the sentence? We love because he first loved us. And that's it. We love because he first loved us. And I wanted to attach a bunch of stuff to it. Right? And so with that sentence, it's not a comma. We love because he, and I have a list of contingencies and a list of things that I require. It doesn't work that way. It's not a hyphen where it's like, well, we love because he first loved us. With this little note over here, just to make sure that you are clear that there are conditions to this love. It's not a question mark. It's not leaving it open to ask and maybe, if there's some people that make statements with questions. We love because he first loved us. It's not a question mark. The statement is, we love because he first loved us, period. I struggle with that, guys. I can struggle with that at home. It's easier to love my boys when they're doing everything I want them to do, right? Obeying around every corner and talking super kind all the time, right? It's easier to love them then. It's easier to love my own mom when she's doing the things that I want her to do and staying off my back and leaving me alone. It's easier to love my friends. It's easier to love the people that I go to church with when everything is working the way that I want it to work. This verse, so simple, but so tough when people aren't doing the things that we want them to do. Now, I also need to be clear. It's also not we love and then people can treat us poorly. Sometimes the best thing and the most loving thing you will do is to give someone space to figure themselves out. It's not about not having boundaries. It's not about not being healthy and using wisdom. It's not about just being a doormat. But it's still, we love because he just loved us, period. Let's keep going. 2 more slides, Krista. So what does it actually look like day to day? Okay, so we're going to say, okay, for a moment I can imagine that I am actually fully, there's no gaps in anybody's love for me. God fully loves me. It's a love that doesn't run away from me. It's a love that's there if I mess up a million times. It's a love that is so constant and so steady I can stand on it. And life can throw all sorts of stuff at me, and I can still stand on it. And because I can stand on that, now I know I just have to love people, period. Stop attaching all this stuff to it. Just love people. So what does this actually look like? First, just slow down. I feel like every time I've spoken to Inside Out, that's like one of my steps. Slow down. Think about right now what you're dealing with. Think about the text drama you just caught yourself up in this weekend. Think about someone posted something to their private story and it's got everybody all talking about it, okay? Like slow down. If you comment on that or you share that, does that really sound like you're loved? Like, is that the words you're using? I mean, if I could like come over your shoulder, peek over your shoulder with the way you respond to people, does it seem like you're loved? Are you responding like a mature, loved, solid, stable person? Slow down and think about your responses to your parents. What does that look like? How do you treat your friends? How do you treat your boyfriends and your girlfriends? If I could actually just peek into that, would you be acting and responding in love? The other thing, and this is something we can do actually tonight, make a decision to see every person with clarity, to actually see them clearly. And I'm going to define that for you. It's going to be really, really simple. You ready? You will never look into the eyes of another human being that God does not love. Never. So think about that person you don't really like to look at. They upset you. They hurt you. Maybe they're talking about you. Maybe they're your competition. Maybe they're your Shannon McVeigh or your Jason. You will never look at someone and say, God doesn't love them. It's not possible. That person that's driving you crazy, God loves them just as much as he loves and wants to connect with you. And if we treated people like everyone you see is someone that is already deeply and passionately loved by God, would that change how you treat them? The next one, stop attaching conditions. Don't only love people well if they act accordingly or they do what you want. Or even if they're always kind, because they may have their own stuff going on. Like, you can love people well without attaching additions. And then, last one. So let's talk about the things that we can do right now, right? If we're going to stop attaching things, we're going to actually slow down enough, and we're going to actually see people with clarity because they are someone that God loves. Here's some simple things we can do. Sorry, Chris, go on. Stop talking bad about them. Simple. Actually, probably harder for some of us than others. Stop talking bad about them. Stop ignoring them or avoiding them. They drive you crazy? Stop trying to purposely push them out. Apologize. And just a caveat about apologies, they're super simple. Talk about simplify. It's just, I'm sorry. It's not, I'm sorry that you're a moron, or I'm sorry that you didn't understand. It's just, I'm sorry. And if you owe someone an apology, you can love them well by simplifying that. And then lastly, choose kind words. When you are going to talk to someone, and even this is the stretch for some of us, when you're going to talk about someone. Now, when I saw this list, I was like, oh, really? Easy stuff, simple stuff, right? That's the series, Simplify. What's funny about this particular list is that's about how to love others well. When I come over to this other space, right, about that verse that talks about how to love yourself well and to live like you're loved, the list actually doesn't change that much. Let's look at what that list would look like if we're talking about yourself. Stop talking bad about yourself. Accept a compliment without having to point out something negative on the other side. Stop putting yourself down. What's the next one? Use kind words with yourself, both out loud and then work on those words that you're telling yourself inside your head. Forgive yourself. If we're talking about apologizing and forgiving others, and that's loving them well, what does it look like for you to forgive yourself? And then stop avoiding your hurt. Like if part of loving others well is to give them space to grow and to be and to understand that they are going through stuff, can you give yourself space to grow and to be and to know that it's okay that you're going through stuff? And the crazy thing is, even though you're going through stuff, that thing we talked about just being insanely loved and valued still applies. It's still simply right there. Now, next week, Jeremy Edlin is going to come and share. And we're going to look a little further at what it looks like to simplify all the stuff we complicate. There are still some complicated stuff in the world. You're going to deal with complicated situations. You're going to have some questions about religion, about faith, about the Bible, about relationships, about friendships. Life can get complicated, but we can respond simply. We can recognize that we are fully and insanely loved. And then, because of that, we just love others, period. I'm going to pray for you, and we'll send you to groups. Father, I simply thank you that you love us and that you fully love us. Whatever it looks like for us to hear that or to feel that for just a few minutes, that you would have that moment with us. And then, Father, I just simply thank you that you challenge us to love others and that you don't put attachments to it, that you've simplified it, that we just love because we are already so loved. Help us to sense that, to know it, and to walk it out. Amen. All right, guys, go to your groups. I talked about you.